All right, welcome. My name is Bushabi Jr. Now, we start off with this story of the president, where President William RUTO is in the United States for a 3-day U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit. The trip to the U.S. is his second since his inauguration in September and comes amid numerous trips made by the head of state to Western countries. Hardly has President RUTO visited the East, including China, begging the question, is the head of state shifting to the West after almost 2 decades of the country leaning to the East? Reader Kering Chebet has that story.
Thank you.
President William RUTO is in the United States of America for the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit. The 3-day meeting that commenced on December 13th is also attended by opposition leader Raila Odinga, who left the country on Saturday, December 10th, 2022.
This is a very important forum.
As he shared great business ideas in Africa, RUTO said it is time to position and appreciate Africa accordingly as a destination for American capital, not commodities. He intimated that Africa must be regarded as investment destination and not market for manufactured goods.
Instead of exporting commodities, the U.S. should find an opportunity in investing the capital they have, the machinery they have, the know-how they have, so that they can produce for the African continent in Africa. Not to export commodities into Africa, but to export capital, to export know-how, to export machinery. I dare say, as a farmer myself, John Deere is a good tractor in Africa. And that is what America should be exporting, and together combine the resources we have in the continent and the opportunities that the collaboration can present.
According to the head of state, the basis of Africa's attractiveness as an investment destination is the people. The continent's population is estimated to be 1.4 billion, which is projected to rise by 300 million people, the size of entire U.S. population over the next 8 years.
For the continent of Africa and the U.S. to recalibrate and possibly re-engineer the relationship between America or the U.S. and Africa, especially in the space of trade and investment. There are glaring opportunities that Africa and the U.S. can take advantage of. We need to engineer a win-win formula. Win-win, taking advantage of the competitive advantage of the U.S. in capital, know-how, machinery, and taking advantage of Africa's population, energy resources, and the obvious Africa Continental Free Trade Area that gives us that leverage.
RUTO further explained that Kenya runs an open financial and commercial economy that respects business and investment. In that case, Kenya has a number of businesses owned by U.S. companies, thus confirms that Kenya has a working and open financial system.
The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is an agreement by all leaders in our continent that we need to spread best practice across the continent and build the infrastructure that will ensure that when you invest in one country, you are actually investing in a continent of 1.4 billion people. That is the opportunity Africa presents. What the U.S. need to do, and I'm happy I'm speaking to policymakers and business people from this great continent, is to see the opportunity.
RUTO also stressed that U.S. should see opportunity in Africa since the continent has educated, young and innovative labor. Also, according to the Kenyan head, Africa is a green energy superpower, thus opportunity to save the globe and begin to manufacture using green energy in Africa, and U.S. should lead the way.
With capital, you have a partner in Africa, because Africa presents a huge market, labor that is educated, young, and innovative. And 3, Africa, I dare say, is the green energy superpower. We have the largest resources in renewable energy. And it is time for the globe to recalibrate the whole industrialization agenda. Instead of continuing to manufacture using dirty energy outside Africa, it is the opportunity to save the globe and begin to manufacture using green energy in Africa. And U.S. should lead the way.
President Biden sought to revitalize America's listless relationship with Africa, promising a grab bag of economic initiatives to make up for a predecessor who had denigrated the continent and catch up with strategic competitors like China that have expanded their influence.
The United States is all in on Africa's future. And the work we've done over the past 2 years, building on decades of vital investments made under previous American presidents, has helped make possible the critical steps that I'm about to announce. First, the United States is signing a historic memorandum of understanding with the new African Continental Free Trade Area Secretary.
Assembling most of Africa's leaders in Washington for the first time since 2014, Mr. Biden vowed to invest what aides calculated will be $55 billion on the continent over the next 3 years, while supporting its ambitions for greater global leadership and bolstering efforts to transform it into a more prosperous, healthier, and technologically advanced region.
Holding the first of its kind summit in 2014 was a watershed moment to cement new kinds of partnerships between our nations. Partnerships not to create political obligation, not or foster dependence, but to spur shared success. I'll emphasize shared success and opportunity.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Rida Chebet Kering.